It is a Wednesday edition of Red Sox Now, all presented by Fan Arch with me, Mike Antonellis, on the great YouTube. Not cold here, but I thought I'd rock my Worcester Red Sox sweatshirt. Best time of the year in New England, fall. I know a lot of you from the comments are not all here in New England, but if you have a chance to come up here, you'll absolutely love it. Yes, we all of New England has really run with October stuff, Oktoberfest, pumpkin-themed. Oh, man, it is. And I'm not anti-pumpkin, but it's pretty nuts. But best time of year, fairs, the leaves changing colors, and we head towards playoff baseball. We get the NFL as well. So it is Wednesday. Red Sox had a good night. We will get to your comments as we do. For a lot of you that are opening this for the first time, everything on the right is what we will talk about. And before we get started, if you're brand new, and I know a lot of you are from the comments that we get each day, thank you for that. Thank you for the support going forward. And we are right on the doorstep of 1,900 subscribers, which is, I think is pretty cool. Really damn cool. I got to check right now. We are on episode 140. That is crazy. Doesn't feel like it. I was going to say it feels like 139, but we're at 140. Awesome. 140 episodes. The minor league baseball season used to be 140 games, so it's like a minor league season. We'll have to do something fun for 162. Rocking the Red Sox hat today. And, hey, listen, Red Sox found a way. They got some breaks. I thought that ball was fair that Springer hit. He was called out on a horrible pitch. So be it. Toronto had 3 hits. They can complain all they want. Giolito really labored through the first few innings. This is why I encourage people to watch baseball. You know, I get a lot of statistics about Giolito, but you have to actually watch the human because these games are not played on the computer. And it's noticeable that his stuff has changed. His velocity is down. His command is not the same. He's coming off an injury. Not surprising. But this is why when we talk about Crochet, I don't worry about because his stuff in his velocity and all those things that you look for mechanically have not changed. But Giolito, no doubt, there's a look to it last night. But you know what I like about all of that? See, I look at this. I like guys like him because he found a way. And I'm not congratulating him on 4 1/3 innings and 4 walks. The fact is, if that's maybe someone else, that's a 2-inning stint. And that's a real thing. Younger guys don't have their stuff coming off an injury, tick down in velocity. They might not be able to handle it. He stays composed. That's a good team. That's a good lineup. And through all of that, even giving you 4 1/3 last night, when these games are so big, is huge. And you might be laughing. Yes, he goes 3 innings. It changes everything. It changes everything. And if he goes 3 innings, you probably aren't winning. The fact that he still was able to get you in a position to use Wilson, who I know wasn't sharp when he came out, but found a way. So no doubt none of us love the outing by Giolito. He got some breaks, no doubt about it. He avoided 4 walks. The guy you face gave up 4 runs and walked 1. Gave up more hits. I still think Gossman's good, though. I thought his stuff was really good. Their bullpen was good. But Giolito still got you into a position that you were able to manage the game. And once again, the bullpen found a way. You know, this was a game that didn't look great to start with. Trevor Story makes 2 errors out of it. I mean, the first few innings, it really didn't look good. And I know this is going to sound weird to a lot of you. I like that because that's what championship teams do. It can't look pretty every night. This did not look pretty. You're on the road against the best team. One of your top starters has velocity dipping way down. You're leaving runners on base. You're making errors. You got a break, 2 breaks, I thought. And then you found a way. You found a way. Nathaniel Lowe had a big hit. Carlos Narvaez had a big hit. Your offense stepped up last night. 4 runs, 9 hits. That's got to be enough. To me, good teams win games with 4 runs. They lose that game 5-4, we blame the offense. No. 3 runs, yes. But once you get to the 4-run territory, if you consider yourself a playoff team and a good team, you got to win games like that. And they have shown that ability because they have good arms. And I still don't think we get it. I still feel like I'm talking in a wall. Not to a lot of you. This community, you guys and gals are great. But when I talk to other people sometimes, even on social media or some of the comments, I still think a lot of you want to be built the other way. You have no chance in this game if you were built better offensively this year right now with no pitching. The fact that you have all those arms that can come out and save games. How many times has this happened? Where your starter doesn't go 5 and you have to rely on a lot of arms. And they've done that because they have better talent. But last night, your offense came through. Yoshida had 2 more hits. Like I've told a lot of you that were critical of him, you had to give it time. Baseball's a long game. I get we don't live in a long game society anymore. But when you don't have spring training, when you miss that much time, you barely rehab, it's hard. Abreu's going to go through the same thing. But you can see Yoshida's at-bats are just different. 2 more hits for him. Nathaniel Lowe, a guy you claimed, expecting him to be big, reaches base 4 times, has a 6-game hit streak. Abreu pitched in with a double. Story had a double. Romy had another double. But Narvaez had the big hit. And you were able to do that to win that ball game. When do I want to do? Okay, well, the things I want to talk about, we're going to wait to number 3. Your number 1 pen in the MLB proved it again. Best ERA. They have done this a ton of times this year, where the starter doesn't go 5. When a starter does not go 5 in the big leagues, your probability of winning is not usually good, especially against the best team in your league on the road. No hits between Wilson, Whitlock, Slayton, and Chapman. We've seen that a lot. No hits. Now, on the other side, Toronto did the same thing. Give them a ton of credit. 3 1/3, no hits, but they got to Gossman, knocked him out. But the fact that on the road, Giolito doesn't go 5, almost 100 pitches, and you have kind of a Rivera Wetland situation here with Chapman and Whitlock. And I absolutely love what Alex Cora did. He brought Whitlock in earlier because of that lineup with Varsho and Guerrero, and he punched him out. And he looked absolutely dominant. And then went to Slayton, who went a perfect inning. In the playoffs, you have to have a bullpen. We have some good arms. No. If you don't have what the Red Sox do, usually you have no chance. And you know what they're going to do in the playoffs? Because they're going to be in. I'm being ultra confident. They're going to bring Whitlock in the 5th inning of a game. Why not? Because they'll still have Slayton and Chapman and Matz and other guys that they rely on, and Tolley, and probably Harrison. Now, there's no doubt going forward, and I don't want to get too much into this, definitely offensive improvements. But I like the direction, and I said this in spring training, you build your bullpen backwards. Those are necessities to win World Series. You have to be strong in that area. And you have to have, as we know, starting pitching. That's where they're filling in the gaps more through the draft, through free agency, through trades. And then it will look different offensively. We know. We know it's going to look different. You're going to have Anthony, Meyer, who knows who else. Will Casas be a guy? Will they go out and make trades? They're going to have a lot of flexibility there, but they're going to have the infrastructure of starting pitching and bullpen. And that's why this team is going to be interesting if they get into postseason. I guess I should say if. I'm not worried about the other teams, what they do at this point, because it doesn't matter. It absolutely doesn't matter. I watched most of that Tigers game last night on my iPad, and I will tell you that Tarek Skubal had an absolute meltdown. I didn't like it. I brought this up on purpose because of feel and look. That's why you've got to watch the games more than to pick up the Baseball Savant pages. You have to look at something before you judge it. There are going to be tons of people that are going to look and say, he went 6, gave up 1 unearned run, or gave up 2 unearned runs, struck out 9, whatever he did. Sure. But if you watch that 6th inning, you would say, ugh. He gives up a bunt single to Quan. Angel Martinez drops a sacrifice bunt. He looked like he never had fielded a sacrifice bunt in his life. And this is where the Tigers are winning 1-0. It was a bunt up the first base side, and he threw it like between his legs. I don't know what in the world he was doing. I don't know if anybody saw it. It was really, it was weird. Then David Fry tries the bunt, and he smokes him in the face. Then they had to bring up Valera. He throws a wild pitch to bring in a run. He did strike out the pinch hitter, Valera, but it goes to Fry. But then he balks. There was a pitch violation. I mean, this inning was, the look of it, it looked like a big moment. And that Tigers team is not very good. That's not a good team. I don't care what their record is. They struck out 19 times last night. 19. And I've got people on here telling me that strikeouts are not a big deal. I don't know what world you're living in. 19 times. How do you win a game when you strike out that much? Their bullpen struck out 7 in 3 innings. It's just not a good team. And actually, Cleveland winning, I started to pay attention a little more. I mean, that's not a good lineup the Tigers are running out there. Which, again, if you pitch, like I said, but they're striking out at an alarming rate. I don't think Cleveland's lineup is. You got guys under 200 in their lineup. But Ramirez and Quan are really good. But I'm thinking like these teams, because I'm paying attention more. I'm like, they got to be like up here over the Red Sox. But it's been with both of those clubs, they're really pitching. Cleveland's really pitching. Detroit, through their struggles, have pitched. Cleveland is hitting 226 as a team. Detroit's 247. Their bullpen's been a mess. But Cleveland winning here has actually been probably one of the best things. Like, I thought before, like, this was a bad thing. But them going on this huge winning streak, and basically they've won 4 in a row against Detroit, and Detroit's lost 7 in a row. It really hasn't. That wasn't the thing that's that big a deal. It's Houston, too. Houston all of a sudden has lost 4 in a row. But here's why I don't care about what the other teams are doing. Because any of that mattered if you did not have a 3-1 record on this road trip. Huge, huge road trip where you needed to step up. You took 2 of 3 from Tampa, and you have a chance to win this series. So all of a sudden, with 5 games left, You have a 3-game lead over Houston. That's for the final playoff spot. It could all turn out now where that final series matters more for Detroit than it does for Boston, which is going to be very interesting. Let's wait and see if the Red Sox clinch. 2 wins and a Houston loss. If they sweep this series, they're in, right? No, they'd need 1 loss by Houston. But again, let's not even worry about it. But that was quick to a panic. And still, some of you are going to, before the trip, it was tight. And Cleveland continuing to win, Detroit continuing to lose, Houston continuing to lose, has helped you. But you've played better. Not a good homestand, yes, but you needed to step up, and you did. And now the Yankees are 2 games behind Toronto for the top spot. This whole thing could get really weird, couldn't it? Wouldn't it be weird if the Red Sox went right back to Toronto after coming home? That could happen. So again, I'm not, now the path is easier because if you just win here, and we talked about this, I think, a couple weeks ago. I didn't want this last series to matter. And if Detroit, they have the head-to-head, by the way, with Houston. But if they lose the next 2 games, they could miss the playoffs. They are now a wild card team with Houston a game out. Over in the NL, Arizona and the Reds are 1 game behind the Mets. Dodgers have a game lead over San Diego, but they have the head-to-head with 5 to go. Fun stuff. And you have Crochet on the mound tonight, which makes it exciting. Let's get to the comments. That should be from, oh, yeah, it is. I don't know why I thought it was Thursday. From Tuesday's show. That is right. Scott Chalmers, 5,200. Do or die time for the Sox. We'll see what the team is made of. Got the big 3 going. We need to come up big one more time. Yeah, and they have. Yeah, losing the next 2 games would not be good either. Yes, I know that. I know I'm going to get that. And if that were to happen, if you had the worst possible scenario and you lost the next 2 and Houston won, you would have a 1-game lead over Houston. Yep, with 3 to go. And if Detroit were to lose the next 2, Detroit would be on the outside looking in. Crazy. There is a legit chance, if you want to talk about teams falling off the wagon, and I know a lot of you said the Red Sox, that's not. The Tigers have a chance to miss the playoffs. They were the division leader, and they've not played great for about 63 games. Oh, but they didn't do enough at the deadline. Really? They got Kyle Finnegan. They got Cody Heuer. They got Charlie Morton, who they DFA'd. Rafael Montero and Paul Sewell. They traded 2 pitchers to clear roster space for organizational depth. They went out because their pitching was lousy, and they made a bunch of moves, and they could miss the playoffs. Like I've said, you shouldn't be trying to fix your team at the deadline when it's really bad in an area. And what I mean is the Detroit bullpen has been pretty bad all year. It's hard to go at the deadline and try to fix all of that. Make it better in the offseason, right? Don't rely on the deadline. Anybody could have signed Chapman, right? I mean, you want to talk about some of the biggest whiffs? You're going to tell me that no teams had better prospects to trade for Crochet? Or maybe a lot of teams didn't believe in him. I think Chapman wanted to be here, though, too. I think he chose that. Or it could have just been a lot of teams didn't believe in it as well. At Sean Norton, 69, where do you think Campbell plays next year? I'll be honest, no clue. No clue. I don't even think he'll make the team out of spring training. Play where? I don't see it. I don't see it. And was this a bad move with the extension? Sure. Their track record with position players has been really, really good. You have to think you're going to have a hiccup with one of these guys. You really didn't with any of them, right? A lot of the guys that have been young that you've asked, you traded for Abreu. He was good. Anthony's been good. Meyer was pretty good before he got hurt. Narvaez, going back to Mookie, Devers, Bogarts, Benintendi. They've been pretty good with this. And this is a setback, but I don't. It will be interesting to see where he plays in spring training. If it's exclusively outfield, then yeah, I think ultimately he's probably just a left fielder. I mean, he hasn't played a lot of baseball in his life, but I honestly don't know. But I don't think he'll be on the roster to start the season next year. At Pete Cohen 19, I've questioned why Casas was not offered an extension if they thought he'd be a 40 home run guy. I suppose his availability and being fragile has played into that. I wish they waited to see if Christian Campbell's ready. They jumped the gun there. Well, I mean, did anyone think that after April? No one thought that after April. He was Rookie of the Month. So I think we thought that more after May. And Pete says, hopefully next season they prove me wrong. I think that they didn't give Abreu an extension either. I think it's how they evaluate players. But I don't think at that position that's something you need to do long term. I wouldn't be surprised if Narvaez got a deal. Because the deals go to guys like you saw. I mean, they even gave Story some pretty good money. But Rafaela, I know they gave Campbell, but it was a guy they thought up the middle. Anthony, which is kind of a no-brainer because he's not really normal. But usually it's positions like center, shortstop. You don't see a lot of first basemen get huge extensions. And honestly, you could be completely right. But so he hits 40 home runs and the defense isn't great. You have to look at when that contract ages, what will he do? If he's just a one-tool guy, it's not worth all that money. And this is a possibility. He might have said no. I know that seems weird. I think we assume that all young guys don't do that. They do. They might have approached Anthony in spring training. They might have already approached Meyer. But those guys will say no. So more comments. If you do it, we'll read them on Thursday. Red Sox have another tough one. I don't care who's on the mound for the Red Sox. I know it's Crochet, but it's Toronto. Max Scherzer is on the bump. A win tonight and a Houston loss, then all you have to do is win one more game the rest of the year. If Houston wins out and you win 3, that's it. But, again, every day you win, you're closer. And it would be nice. Like, wouldn't it be? It would be nice if you won tonight and Houston lost to bring that magic number down to 1. All right, make sure you comment on the channel. And I still think this year for the Red Sox, look at the adversity that the Tigers have gone through, and they have not really – they still could be a playoff team, but they've not responded the way that the Red Sox – I think it's depth with pitching. And Alex Cora is a great manager. I really believe that. It's a very interesting and wild ride this year that has them on the cusp of a playoff spot. Just crazy stuff. All right, make sure to comment. Follow me on social at The Radio Mike. Enjoy your Wednesday. Sox at Blue Jays tonight with Crochet on the bump. And as always, go Sox.